High-grade Universal Century Gundam EZ8. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert 184, 2 R's, 2 B's, gundam.tk, and the parachute pack and all the related accessories are a lot of fun here for the HGUC Gundam EZ8 as Rob Lucci is about to defeat him. I wonder which one of his 6 powers he's going to be using. Anyway, it's time for a list of the good and bad so that you can make your own call whether you want to add this to your high-grade Universal Century shelf. Keep fighting there, Shiro. So to kick things off here with the negatives, and remember to always take from these which ones apply to you, and feel free, of course, to ignore all the rest. I know that there's going to be some people out there where instead of these regular stickers would have just preferred to have some dry transfers. I remember for me that the Master Grade dry transfers, they just went on really, really well. They were nice and easy, and they ended up adding a nice pro effect without that little bit of transparent film that we're going to be getting around there. However, to each their own for that. At least Bandai included it, which is great, but you've also got to wonder about the fact there was 08 there and 81 splattered all around. Of course, it's going to make a lot more sense for the ground Gundam to have more variation in numbers than just the 08, but it would have been nice if they're going to throw in 06, 02, and just fun things like that. You'd figure if Shiro got one, maybe somebody else did as well. In terms of the cool mechanical details specific to the EZ8, well, you've got to wonder about the gray on the inside of the chest. There's some incredible chest, the details are very well carved there when you detach the white part there. The only question is if they're going to be giving you one gray part which is going to show on the outside, could they not have also carved a gray part that you would have put inside the blue part and then put the white part on top of it? It's the kind of thing, of course, that you can paint up. It just would have added a lot of quick play value, and all they have to do is put the carve in the gray instead of the blue. For this kit, one thing you are going to have to do is line it, whether you're going to go ahead and use something like panel line accent color. I just went with black in this case here. Or if you're going to go use the $2 Gundam lining marker in the black or the gray. Either way, it's going to be looking good, but I think it would look incredibly plain. Probably one of the worst Gundams, I figure, to just build straight out of the box. So if you're going to spend 15 or 16 bucks, 1,600 yen, why not spend an additional 2? I'm sure it would make everybody who's looking at it feel better. Also, in terms of loose parts, not all that many, but there was a loose part on the back of the ankles. You're going to want to be careful of that when you're moving it around. And in terms of the parachute, now something else Bandai could have done to make this kit truly spectacular is just, you'll notice on the back here that you're going to be having these old cassette tape cord, and it's just going to be running through up to the shoulders there, and then you're supposed to pinch it on there with just a seal and wrap that around. Remember, though, that you can only do this 3 times because they're going to be giving you 6, which is fantastic. It's just the kind of thing that you're going to have to be pretty careful about this if you want it to look good. If you've got some old black tape, though, of course, you can just go ahead and do that. But it seems like it could have been prevented by just the idea here of having this white part. If it's separated, if you had a couple of them, then what you could do is you could keep one set that was permanently attached onto here and then just detach that and put on the exact same piece, just without the actual cord running through it. So this way you'd be able to swap on the parachute much more easily here, and you wouldn't have to worry about things like this. They could only give you 1. All they'd have to do is make this part easy to replace and just give you 4 instead of 2. So that's going to wrap up the negatives here, but what about the positives? Are there any? Oh yes, maybe even more than 8, or 08. So let's just start here by just seeing how much time it's going to take to get him into a convoluted kneeling pose, and yep. Mere seconds is all it's going to take, and that's a big plus. Back in the day, the Master Grade, that was the biggest deal about the ground Gundam, is that he could kneel down on the ground and recreate some of his big gun shooting poses. And in this case, if you just look at how simple it's become, and that Master Grade really was not Master Grade quality, I mean, for what we think of it now. At the time, revolutionary, but now we're getting better bends in high-grade Universal Century for less money, and it's just great to see that it's taken this long to get this kit, but that the payoffs that we've been promised are getting here in smaller and smaller sizes for less and less money. So to kick things off right at the beginning, great cover art there. They're going to be showing off. Love to see that you're going to have your Jim Head ground Gundam over there, your Big Gun ground Gundam, and some dead Zaku's laying all around there. And as soon as you open it up, you're going to have to wonder about the white color. But I think this little drop of color that they're going to be adding to the otherwise 100% white is looking pretty sharp in here, and I think that it looks very good. And it definitely fits the tone of the EZ8 and what we saw in the anime, without going too overboard. If they had been too yellow, I think that wouldn't have been good for anybody in this case. So the plates are good, and the seals. Yes, of course it would have been nicer if we had more numbers, but they're going to be giving you lots of them. There's going to be extras, and there's tons of fun places you can put them on. Perhaps in the manual they could have given you more clear directions on where to do it, But otherwise, throughout the rest of the kit, no over-reliance on seals whatsoever. And yes, it's a little bit disappointing that they're going to be giving you not enough of a lifetime supply for the parachute parts. But the fact is they're giving you 3. You can imagine back in the day, Bandai would have only given you 1 pair. You use it up and then you're out of luck and it's on to some expensive Scotch tape. So the fact that they're giving you the seals is great. Colors are good, but then it's on to the big stuff, like the weapons, where though you may want some extras similar to what we've seen with the Master Grades and the regular Ground Gundam, I think a lot of people who are going to be buying this kit are going to be buying multiples of the Master Grades and the High Grades anyway. So just the fact that they're going to be giving you things like this are just fantastic, because maybe you want to have the big white backpack on, as we've seen with the previous versions, or with the Master Grade anyway. But in this case, the fact that you're probably buying a Ground Gundam or 2, and maybe the Ground War set, means that you have this kind of thing, and it's just a nice option. Swap this one onto the ground, swap the white one onto here. You get the idea, and it's all going to give you just more options, and that backpack back there is just incredible. The Master Grade a little bit tricky, the way it bends and opens, and it just seems finicky. This one here, you can stretch it out for the white backpack, and the top parts, even though they're not solidly attached, they're certainly solid in practice there. And the machine gun, simple, effective. Beam rifle, same thing, lots of white color apps there. There's just tons of good things. I'm going to be putting this in the good category here. Some people may put it otherwise. But the Master Grade here, the cargo pants side pockets here that hold the beam sabers were nothing but trouble until the kind people watching my channel. It really helped out on how to do that. It's the kind of thing, though, where the high-grade Universal Sentry is going to have a lot less details. All you do is you just pop off the panel, pop out the beam saber, and then you replace the panel. And in this case, I'm going to go, compared to the hassle of the Master Grade, that this one, even though we'd like to have a nice bend-out and swing mechanism, that it's just going to be simple and effective here. So I'm going to score this in the pluses. You may want to score that in different places. But after everything from the unbox to the colors to the plates to the build itself here and the seals when you put them on, I think they just look fantastic. The FSF 081 there on the right side, the solid gray bar, the little triangles wherever you want to go apply them. You've got extras if you don't want to follow Bandai's instructions. And the 08, they're going to go on there simple, they're going to look fantastic. But even more important for this kit is there's always this fabled Gundam in my mind where he's going to be A, incredibly posable, but B, incredibly solid, and it seems that we've been going in a direction, especially I think of Master Grade Exia's ankles and the age kit, and there's always kits out there that while they're getting more complex, sometimes they lose something in the simplicity. And I'm wondering if this kit, it had one part fall off on the back of the ankle, but otherwise, the minute you want to put him in a position there, he's going to feel more like a toy than an actual plastic model. Nothing wants to fall off, nothing wants to collapse. Everything's just going to go where you want it to go there. The elbows are going to have fantastic articulation, as are the knees, and you saw how quick and easy it was to get them down on one knee, so you can fire off the small guns or the big guns. The idea being that this kit may be that perfect, the Goldilocks zone, as it were, between posability and stability, and for me, combined with the fact that I like the anime so much, I like this MS in it, and of course the fact that it just seems to be just that perfect balance, you can guess that this verdict is going to be overwhelmingly positive, from the head sculpt there and the lining options, the quality seals, and the fact that Bandai can take a pretty ugly MS if I was to look at this one, and you stack it up on your shelf and you call in somebody who doesn't know anything or like Gundam at all, and say which one here is the ugliest. I think the Ez8 may stand out amongst the leads in many people's eyes, but this HGUC has absolutely nailed all the power of the anime, and it's the kind of thing that makes me want to go out and buy a lot more. So where is the future of the Ez8? First, let's do some speculation there. We've got a high-grade Universal Century, much awaited there, and the old-school 1144th to go along with the Master Grade. Real Grade would seem to be the next logical choice. I would drop 2500 happily, and that's where you'd be getting all sorts of MG-level gimmicks, just scaled down in size. But in terms of other future builds, would we ever be getting a perfect grade of either the Ground or the Ez8? You'd think the Ground might have some fans and proponents out there. But more importantly, in terms of selling things here, Bandai, I think, has done a great job. I'm a big fan of the 08 MS Team, and the fact that I didn't go out and buy 3 Ground Gundams, or go out and buy a gym, a couple Ground Gundams, and an Ez8 so that you could do the whole team, as it's going to be recreated here on the cover. But with the high-grade Universal Centuries, with these kind of prices and this kind of quality, and that Ground War set, which is going to be giving you tons of different gimmicks, the only thing we're really missing is a Ground Gym, but they're going to be giving you his head anyway, so if your focus is on the 08 MS Team, it's out there, it's cheap, it's accessible, and if the Ground Gundam in high grade is as good as this one, even though it's quite a few years ago now, you've got to wonder why I haven't gone out and done it since. I always figure, though, that these are the kinds of guys that you want to get into your weathering with, and this is where you want to learn. I don't paint very well, and I just put on simple matte coats here, but if you wanted to make them battle damage, ground worn, whatever you want to call it, and diorama them up, if you want to do 3 of them, high grade may be the way to go. The possibilities are endless, and Bandai's made it all possible here with high quality kits from a great anime. But this takes me back to a funny old sad story in a way, because when I was watching the '08 MS Team, I knew nothing about Gundams besides the fact they were colorful, they were all over shelves in Japan, and they usually had V-fins. And the ground Gundam seemed to fit that bill perfectly. And I watched the '08 MS Team through, except watching the last episode. I'm glad I didn't watch that last episode, because it probably would have just lowered the overall enjoyment. But back to this, I still remember watching it all the way through, liking the ground Gundam, barely even knowing what Amuro... I didn't think I even knew what Amuro's Gundam was at the time. '08 really was just the beginning for me. And I didn't even notice that Shiro changed his lead Gundam there, because I don't think that they talked about it very much, or the subs I was looking at didn't address it. Whatever happened, I had this unsettling feeling at the very end, and I had to go back, and I threw in the last few episodes, and I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, he was blue with some yellow, white, and then all of a sudden he's all white. And I was very confused. So yes, there I am. So I just remember now where I've got all these Gundams, and you'd like to know where they all come from through just things like the Gunpla Bible and stuff like that. But my first time watching it through, as I get paged by my Gundam Age system, is just telling me, yes, there's still always more for you to find in Gundam. And even when you watch it knowing nothing, a good story and some good design is enough to catch your eye, and even if it's going to be ugly like this, you'll be wanting to come back and buying it in various forms. So that's it, everybody. I'm going to wrap up my look at the high-grade Universal Century Ez8. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed putting this all together here. It's been a lot of fun, and stick around, and if I ever have some more building and painting time, I'd love to see the possibilities out there, but there's so much more to build in between. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. See ya. Transformers 4 special effects level, indeed.